Hey everybody, it's Mike from the Mike Wagner Show, powered by Soundcraft Studios, brought to you by official sponsor of the Mike Wagner Show, international warring author Mia Molson's Missing, available on Amazon, coming soon, Missing 2, Double the Suspense, Double the Fun. Check it out on Amazon. Also brought to you by Sweet Psalmist by Serena Wagner, based on the life of David, including 30 exquisite paintings and King David Psalms, Amazon.com, keyword Sweet Psalmist Serena Wagner. And also check out the Mike Wagner Show at themikewagnershow.com, 40 podcast platforms, heard in 100 countries. You can also hear on Spreaker, Spotify, iHeartRadio, YouTube, BitChute, Rumble, and more. We're here with an amazing gentleman who is a legendary Northwest King of Soul, over 3 decades of captivating audiences across the globe, solidify his place as one of the most respected beloved voices in R&B. He's a two-time inductee in Oregon's Music Hall of Fame. Born in Danville, Virginia, raised across the U.S. and Germany with all Army as well too, and star athlete at Mount Hood College, University of Oregon, and also began his career in '83 at a Portland nightclub, joined a legendary funk band, Cool R, earning various accolades, and also signed to A&M Records. Shared the stage with Michael Bolton, George Clinton, and Peeble Bryson, and more. He's got a new release called No Better, live, ladies and gentlemen, Plus Studios in beautiful downtown Seattle, Washington. The amazing, legendary Northwest King of Soul, 3 decades of captivating audiences. Ladies and gentlemen, multi-talented Andy Stokes. Andy, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Thanks for joining us today.
Hey, man, thank you. Happy to be here, man. Thanks for having me on your show.
Well, it's great to have you on board, Andy. So you're a legendary Northwest King of Soul, over 3 decades of captivating audiences across the globe and solidifying your place as one of the most respected, beloved voice of R&B, two-time inductee in Oregon's Music Hall of Fame, born in Danville, Virginia, raised across the U.S. and Germany, also star athlete in college as well. You began a career in '83 at a Portland nightclub to join legendary funk band Cool R and earning various accolades. You got Cool Arler got signed to A&M Records in '89, Test of Time, and more. You share the stage with Michael Bolton, George Clinton, Peeble Bryson, and more, and also a number of appearances at fest, venues, and more. You have a new release called No Better, plus others as well, including Full Circle. And before getting all Andy, tell us how you first got started.
Well, like I said, I went to Lakes High School in Lakewood, Washington, which is south of Seattle, like a half hour. And we moved from Stuttgart, Germany to Washington, Fort Lewis, Washington. My dad was in the service, and I had a pretty good high school, sports career, baseball scholarship, football scholarship. Then I went down to I got scholarship to University to Oregon, but I went to junior college first at Mount Hood. Had a great career there. Went down to Oregon. Got out, graduated from Oregon, and then, didn't pursue any more sports. Didn't, we wanted to go to pro, but it didn't happen. So I come from music. My dad, not as a musician or artist. My dad used to play records. My dad loved music, and every Saturday he would put on the little 45s, and we would just listen to music all day. And when I was a junior, I realized that I had a pretty good voice. Nice. And so it was a fantasy of, I was a man, that'd be nice if I could be a lead singer in front of a band and whatnot. But, my whole goal was to, jumping back to the sports, was to make pro football and buy my mom a house. A big, but that didn't work. So, and I had friends who were in the music business, and so I would go see them and, fantasize and whatever, and, sing a little bit around the house. And, when the football thing didn't work, my mom came to me and said, son, football was not for you. That singing, that's your calling. You need to pursue singing. And so I was a guy who was blessed into great bands. I was dinking around at a club on the west side of Portland, and we'd go there on a Thursday night when nobody was there with a group of guys, and I got to know the owner, Pete Dominici, and I would just make up words to songs that the DJ played. and so the next night was Friday night. The DJs called themselves Billy Bump.
Okay.
And it's about midnight, and Billy Bump goes, we just gotta we have a singer in the house just made his debut in Vegas and he's here with us tonight. Maybe we can get him up to sing. So we're all looking around to see who this singer was. And then the spotlight hit me and I froze. you know, and I
I
froze. And,
believe it. I would have done the same thing. You'd be like, what do I do? I understand.
yeah, I froze. And so they, they got me in there. And the first time that I performed in front of people was standing on a chair in a DJ booth, making up words to the song "Ring My Bell" by Anita Ward, and the
Oh,
people
I
went
remember
nuts.
that song. Yes. Uh-huh.
And the people went nuts, and I was to my surprise, I'm going, "Oh wow!" And so afterwards, Ben Wolf, a guy named Ben Wolf, who's from Portland, came up to me and said, "Hey, we have a band. We need a lead singer." He said, would you like to join?" I said, "Oh hell, why not?" And that band was called Nightlife. So I didn't know what I was doing. So I joined the band. We played one gig, and then after that, the leader of the band called Lights Out, who was very popular, playing downtown Portland, which was a big deal. You play downtown, you made it locally.
Mm-hmm.
And they asked me to join the band. They heard me, so I got with Lights Out, and I was with them for 2 years. And then in '83, I joined Coolar. Coolar were members of the great group Pleasure, who was really big out of the Portland area, and had the great drummer Bruce Carter that played with Kenny G and everything, and I couldn't believe that I was playing with them because I had albums at home with their pictures on,
Oh
and
my
I called
goodness. Wow.
yes, and I called my dad. I said, "Dad, um, I'm in a band." He goes, "What?" I said, "You remember that album that says Pleasure and they got the female's hand on there with like she put her hand in jelly?" He goes,
Mm-hmm.
"Yeah." I said, "I'm singing with them guys." He goes, "Oh," I start screaming and everything. And so I was with them for like 7 years, and then we ended up getting signed. Went down to LA to play at the Roxy,
Mm-hmm.
which a big deal for me. I had never been to California then. And we were doing sound check, and Herb Albert was there. His car
Oh
broke down.
my gosh.
Yeah, his car broke down, and he was with Lou Adler, had owned the place, and we did sound check, and he heard the band, and then by the time that was in August of '88, and by February we were signed with A&M Records, and like I said, I'm still green. I don't know anything about the business. I'm just going along with the flow, you
Mm-hmm.
know. And so I jumped into songwriting and I wrote this song called Victim with Phil Baker, who used to be the bass player with Diana Ross, who's also from Portland.
Okay.
And so we wrote the song Victim. And so when the album was done, um, they informed me that they were going to pick my song Victim to be the single from the record. And I was like,
Nice.
Lord, everybody in the band was like, what? Nate goes, "You don't even know what you were doing, and you just wrote a single that's going to be the single for our record." You know, and so the record did pretty good. We ended up um, the album. What bothered me about the Cool R album, it didn't sound like we sounded when we were playing locally.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the bass player produced it, and I think he overproduced it. It didn't sound the R&B funk like we were playing, that got us signed. And so the record did okay. And we ended up going to Japan and on tour. And I think that's when I came into my own, as far as being an entertainer and my voice got stronger and I was more
Nice.
comfortable on stage. And if you know R&B, our first show was at Pickford Live Hall, this, venue in Japan. And I was sitting backstage the whole time. It was my first big concert and on foreign ground. And excuse me, I looked out the window. I mean, look from behind the curtain, And I'm seeing all these stars from Charlie Wilson, Phyllis Hyman, to George Clinton, to
Oh,
the
wow.
group Timex Social Club, Midnight Star, Barcades. All of them were in the audience because all the Americans came to see each other over in Japan. And I
Interesting.
froze. Yeah, I was sitting backstage scared. I got scared. And basically, you okay? I said, no, man. I said, he said, come on, man. He said, you got this. And so I said, just give me some time. So I looked up and said, God, if you're going to give me a voice, give it to me tonight. And I came out there and did a really good job. And at the end of the show, Charlie Wilson ran on stage and hugged me. And
Nice.
he said, he said, man, he hugged me, wouldn't let go. He's hugging me tight. He was over there with the Eurythmics. And he goes, you have something special in that throat. You need to go home and find it. You need to start your own journey. And so with those words, it let me know that I was good enough, to go to the next level. And so then Charlie left, and then I walked up the stage, and George Clinton's crew was, standing alongside the stage. And George comes up to me as I'm walking by. He stops me. He goes, F you. I go, F you? He goes, F you. I said, F you. And then uh, Amp Fiddler, the keyboard player, comes over to me. He said, no, man, it's a compliment, bro. He said, you sang your behind off. You sang your behind. Oh my God.
Oh,
And
too
so,
funny.
yeah, man. And so then so Amp and I got to talking. And then after he said, hey man, what you doing after? I said, nothing. He said, let's go hang out. So him and I left up Pickford, went to this club called the Lexington, and we just sat and talked about life, music, and everything, and invited me to the show the following day. So I went to there the following day, backstage with the George Clinton and the Crazies, and standing in the dressing room, and walked out of there higher than a kite from contact from the weed. On the side of the stage, and they started to do their thing, and then halfway through the show, um, Eddie Hazel, may he rest in peace, was waving over to me. I thought he was waving to a stagehand. He walked over and said, George wants you on stage. I said, okay. And so I walked on stage. George said, I'm tired. You front the band for the rest of the night. So here I am fronting George Clinton and Funkadelic. And afterwards, George said, come break bread with me. Come sit with me and eat. I said, okay. So he told me almost the exact same thing that Charlie did. So when I went back home, I left Kular and started my own journey, started my own band. And from
Oh
there,
my gosh. Wow. Whew.
yeah. And
That,
so,
go ahead. This is really good. I'm loving this. Or we are.
thank you. Yeah. And so I went back home, um, nervous, never was the leader of a band. And, I really didn't know what to do. So I just started reaching out to musicians and put a band together. And Cool Art disbanded. And, so, I was looking for guys putting musicians together. The first band I put together that really didn't work. It wasn't the sound I was looking for because I was doing original music. I wasn't doing covers at all. I was
Mm-hmm.
writing songs and stuff. And even though I was in a band that's very popular in Portland, the club owners weren't sure about me being a solo artist on my own. Now, they just saw me with the Cool Art. And I said, all I need is a chance. And so, club owner named Tony DiMacola at the Key Largo, I went to him and I said, hey, man, I've got a new band. That's a really good. We've been rehearsing for 6 months and just want to get a chance. And so he had me open up for this guy named Curtis Delgado, who's very popular in Portland. Blues guy had me open up for him. And man, we came out and we just crushed it. And came out and crushed it. And at the end of our set, because Curtis Delgado is one of my favorite singers out of Portland, and so I'm trying to hype his setup. I said, "Hey, you ready for Curtis Delgado?" And the people went, "No." one more, like that. I didn't know what to do. I was frozen on stage. And I said, thank you. And I just walked off the stage. And then,
Come on, Curtis, take over, please. Please, please.
yeah, yeah. And so I walked off the stage and everything. Curtis was standing right on the side door hearing all this, and his manager. And then his manager told the owner, said, we don't want Andy to open up for us anymore. I didn't find out that till later. But so Tony finally gave me a Saturday night, and it was packed, lines around the corner. And I had a great career in Portland. And then so I was working the job, just playing music, and basically that's all I was doing, and putting out local records. And then I was working for the Girls and Boys Club with the Portland Trailblazers NBA team,
Nice.
helping
Great.
kids. And Z100 is one of the big radio stations in Portland, and so we got to go on the radio. And prior to that, I had met these guys out of El Cerrito, California, recorded these songs, and one of the songs was called "Test of Time." And so we went on the radio talking about the Girls and Boys Club, helping them out, and make sure, I was basically a mentor. And they go, Andy, do you have any music? I go, sure. I said, I got this song called Test of Time. So I ran to my car and got the cassette. Remember the cassettes back in the days, right?
Oh, I remember that. I used to collect those. And of course, you have the metal tapes. Remember that? And of course, the
Yeah.
tape machines were impressive. Who could forget those? I still have cassettes back these days.
And
Oh my
so
God.
I brought it in there and they played it and the phone lines lit up. And it was a local hit. It's debuted at 29 and finished. I think it topped out at number 9 on the
Wow.
top 30
Okay.
countdown. So it did pretty good. And but after that, it boosted my popularity, and so I stayed busy, made really good money for a long time, and so made all that noise, and then here comes Warner Brothers, 1996.
Okay.
Warner Brothers signed me, went down to L.A., all the accolades, had a nice house, nice condo, swimming pool, everything, and I was doing the album, and it was being produced by the great producer Kashif. And so I'm down there working with Kashif, and I'm blown away because like I said, I had albums at home and everything, and he played me this song called "I Don't Give a Damn,"
Okay.
and which he had wrote and actually put out in 2004. After that, and he we were in studios. It was him and I, and then Mariah Carey came in, and the Pacific Palisades, and I was listening to the song. He said, "Well, what do you think?" I said, "First of all, it's a song about infidelity," and I said, "I hear it as a ballad because to me, it's a message to men and women. You know, guys cheat, women cheat, but I think the message." I say you don't hear too many songs about a guy admitting that he messed up and then trying to get his woman back. I said,
Mm-hmm.
but I think it's a ballad. I said, I'm a balladeer. I love singing ballads. He said, well, so we recorded the album, did the 2 videos, and then waiting for it to drop in April of 97. And so, I was sitting in the condo board and I called him. I said, hey man, what are you doing, man? He said, I'm just sitting here. He said, you need to come over. Haven't you heard? I said, heard what? He said, come over. So I went over to his place and he said, have you heard that Warner Brothers dropped about 9 artists? I said, no. He said, you were one of them. I said,
Wow.
nobody called me. I said, I was wondering why the money stopped coming because I was getting like $500 a week, right?
9
And so,
artists Warner Brothers dropped. Oh my gosh.
yeah, and that's when they merged with AOL and was doing some Time Warner and all that stuff.
Oh yeah, that was a big merger. It was it AOL,
Yeah,
Time Warner, Warner Brothers. That was a monster mess. And you say it was it around like early around 2000 or something like that?
it was like they started it messing with it in 90 and 90 96, the latter part of 96. And man, um, so I'm sitting there, man, just you know, my parents were coming down, and they had never went to California. My dad always wanted to kiss my mom on Hollywood and Vine,
Mm-hmm.
and so anyway, they were on the train coming down the next day, and so they got here, put them up, and so I had a driver and took them to Hollywood and Vine. They got to fulfill their dreams of kissing on Hollywood and Vine. Took them up to the Hollywood
Nice.
sign,
That's
and
a really good ad for couples. I never thought of it.
yeah, and so my dad sent something. I didn't say anything about the record company. I was just trying to keep everything, happy. And my dad said, "What's wrong with you, boy?" And then I told him after we got back to the hotel. I told him what happened, and he said, you can't." He said, "I can understand you being upset, but it was out of your hands." He said, you know, and I said, "Yeah." And then the Kashif goes, "Welcome to the record business." And so I had nowhere to go. My parents had to go back, get on the train to go back up to Tacoma, Washington. And so I had a friend named Bill Beckman who had just got hired at UCLA hospital as an anesthesiologist. And so I went and stayed with him. And I was done with the music. I was so done. I didn't want to deal with music anymore. I just want to go home, be a regular guy, and just work and everything. And so I was staying at Bill's house feeling sorry for myself. I just was, just mad. I was mad, and Bill goes, "You have a gift," and he said, "Come on, we'll get you out of the house." So we went to this place, Toppers, and this violin player and guitar player was performing, and I was just mad and looking at Santa Monica Pier, you know, I want to go home. I want to go home.
Mm-hmm.
And he goes, "You want to sing?" I go, "Hell no, I'm not singing nothing. I'm done." And so he said, "Come on." So Bill, he's one of those friends that he don't give up. He wouldn't, he want to make sure that you're okay. And he went up to the musicians and I guess told them about me. And so they called me out, "Hey, we got a singer. Let's get him up here." And I just looked at Bill with this mean look. "What are you doing?" He said, "All that anger that you got, you sing the hell out of the song you're going to do and get it out of your system." And then he hugged me. And so I'm walking out. And so I walk up and I'm sitting there and I'm looking at this guy. I said, "That's Robert Plant." Robert Plant was there. Pierce Brosnan
Really?
was
Robert
there.
Plant?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Wow.
So, here I am. I'm going, wow. So I didn't know what song to sing. So I'm looking out the window at Santa Monica Pier. So I sang "Dock of the Bay" by Otis Redding.
Mm-hmm.
And I put everything into it, people screaming and everything. And Bill was right. I felt really good afterwards. And Robert Plant was that was the time when Pierce Brosnan's wife had died. So he was like really he was intoxicated. And so after I finished, they walked by heading to the elevator, and Robert Plant goes, he said, "You got a hell of a voice, my friend." He said, "Keep going." And then he walked out. So that was the third person of that caliber that let me know that I was pretty good. And so then fate came in, and the violin player was moving back to Boston, and the guitar player said, "Hey man, sing with me on Thursday nights." The violin player's leaving, so I had a gig every Thursday night. So I stayed for another year.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, and made money, and then and made enough money to go back home. And I think the smartest thing I did was take a leave of absence from my job. So I had my job when I got back home, and so I just started playing around town. And playing around town. Um, Met a songwriter out of California named Ralph Stacey. He died from COVID, but I did. That's when this is about the Full Circle record. So I
Okay.
went down to LA and recorded the Full Circle record. And then the hit song off of that was called Promise. I had like, let's say it was Promise, Let's Have a Good Time, Music for Love, and Are You Ready were the hits off of that, that album. And
Okay.
then, and so then after that, my wife goes, she goes, honey, she said, let's rent an Airbnb in California for a month and you just write songs that's coming out of you, you know, and put it on the album and see what it does. Because if you don't, you're going to be miserable the rest of your life that you didn't put out your own stuff. So we made some good connections down there. And so I sat in Dana Point, California, in this condo and wrote the whole album. And
Wow.
and uh, the first song I recorded was Best Day Ever. And then and finished the record, decided that Best Day Ever would be the single. And I had no idea that this song was going to do what it did. It ended up being top 10 on Billboard, the
Nice.
number one independent song for 3 weeks. Took me to the Grammys. Being still played all over the world. Then the next song after that was I ended up meeting my friend Wyatt Barkley, who was working with the record company, had a connection with Snoop Dogg, and
Uh-huh.
and it's DJ Battlecat. So I went to DJ Battlecat and we wrote a song called "We're on the Floor." And
Uh-huh.
after we finished playing it, we were, it was sounding so good in the studio. Battlecat said, "Hey, we got to get Snoop on this," and Snoop agreed to it. And so we got Snoop on the record, and then that one ended up being top 15 on Billboard. Then I put
Nice.
out, yeah. Then after that, um, my radio guy said, "Hey, Andy, you need a ballad. We got to put a ballad out." So I told him I had worked a ballad with Kashif, and I'm going to put it out. And so I re-recorded it with a producer called PK, and and then that song came out, and I think it made it up to top 15 on Billboard, and then after that, I did a remake of Turn Back Now. I did a remake of It's Too Late to Turn Back Now. That one.
Oh yeah, I think that was
I believe I'm falling in. What's the
yeah,
Cornelius Brothers and
that
Cornelius
I was
Brothers
just gonna
Sister
say
Rose.
that. Cornelius
Yeah,
Brothers and Sister Rose. That one really stuck in my head right there. One of my faves.
yeah, and so that one, um, I think that made it up to number 7,
Hmm.
and then and then here comes No Better. No Better I wrote with the artist out of Oklahoma. His name is Urban Rushing. Um, this guy is an amazing singer, amazing songwriter, and he used to live in Portland, but we never got to meet, and we just happened to connect through a friend, and he said, "Hey, I got this song I think that you would like," and he let me hear it, and so we recorded it. He said, I got the music, you put your style on it and see what happens. And man, it's one of my favorite songs I've recorded because the beat of the music and man, it did really well. It did really well. They got up to number 5.
Oh
So
my gosh, that is amazing. And I'm gonna say this: you can add this to the list. I think you've already mentioned 3, 4. Having you've got one heck of a voice, and I gotta say this: I don't know where you're gonna put this one. You can add me to this list. You've got one hell of a voice. You can add me to
thank
that list.
thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you.
And thank
Um,
you as well, too. And of course, more about No Better, some of the other music, legendary Northwest King of Soul, Andy Stokes here on the Mike Wagner Show. But first, you are listening to the Mike Wagner Show at the MikeWagnerShow.com, powered by SonicWeb Studios. Visit online at SonicWebStudios.com for all your needs. Look at a professional website without breaking your budget. SonicWeb Studios is the answer. SonicWeb Studios offers fast, affordable custom web designs at below the competition rate. Call today 1-800-303-3960. It's 1-800-303-3960 or email to support@sonicwebstudios.com. Mention Mike Wagner Show, get 20% off your first project. Sonic Web Studios, take your image to the next level. Also, time to give official shout out to our official sponsor of the Mike Wagner Show, international warring author Mia Molson-Zia. If you love fast-paced mysteries, you'll love Missing by Mia Molson-Zia, available on Amazon and paperback and ebook. Missing is fast-paced and intriguing with an unforgettable twist. It takes place in 4 countries, 2 strangers, 1 target, where truth is illusion and those who love you to first go missing. It's available on Amazon and paperback and ebook. Missing by Mia Molson-Zia has got great reviews. And Eve 11 enjoys by Howard celebrities, including Jordan Cassie, Forrest Riley, and many others. So grab your copy today. For It Goes Missing by Mia Molson-Zia, available on Amazon. Coming soon, Missing 2, Double the Suspense, Double the Fun. Check it out on Amazon. Also brought to you by Sweet Psalmist by Serena Wagner, based on the life of David, including 30 exquisite pains and King David's Psalms. The Sweet Psalmist gives new perspective on the life of David through the Psalms he wrote and his times as shepherd and complicate yet turbulent relationship with King Saul. It's a story of love, betrayal, repentance, hope, and more. Check out the Sweet Psalmist by Serena Wagner on Amazon. Keyword Sweet Psalmist Serena Wagner. Also, check out the Mike Wagner Show at the MikeWagnerShow.com. 40 podcast platforms. Heard in 100 countries. Tickets with you on any mobile device. Follow us on all socials: Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, and more for great gift ideas like t-shirts, pop sockets, throw pillows, tote bags, hoodies. Amazon.com. Check out the Mike Wagner Show podcast. And for more great gift ideas, whoops, don't get away there. Amazon.com. Mia Molson-Zia, great books, merchandise, and more. Support the Mike Wagner Show on Anchor FM, PayPal, the MikeWagnerShow.com, and check out the Mike Wagner Show on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Music, also Pandora, BitChute, Rumble, YouTube, and more. We're the amazing, legendary Northwest King of Soul, 3 decades of captivating audiences. Andy Stokes here on the Mike Wagner Show, and going from no better and to more as well too. And I think we might cover a little bit. You also, George Clinton was really amazing, and you also worked with Michael Bolton and Peeble Bryson as well too. And a bit about those and some of the others you've worked with.
Well, I've worked with Michael Bolton had came to Portland and to do a concert, and he had a fundraiser that was raised money for this organization that helped battered women. And so Jerome Kersey, who played for the Blazers, was part of that. And so I got to meet him, and when he came in town, some of his members had came to Sunday nights. I was working Sunday night at this place called the Candlelight. And so some of his band members came in and I guess said something to him, and then he asked me to come on stage with him, and so I got to sing with Michael Bolton, and then we had a little softball game to raise money for battered women, and yeah, it was a great deal. It was great, really a highlight of my career. Getting to meet him and work with him, and
Nice.
And also help his charity, and so after that I. Best Day Ever had just came out, and I was on tour and on the East Coast, and I was in Columbia, South Carolina, and there was a show for women, and it was me, Peeble Bryson, the Hamiltons, and that was the first time I got to meet him in person and record with him, and well, not record with him, but perform with him on the same bill. And so that went good. And so the next day, I went to Augusta and Georgia, and it was a big concert. It was like the SOS Band, the Hamiltons, Peeble Bryson, the band Full Force from back in the day. It was like about 15 bands,
Oh,
and
wow.
So I got to be a part of that, and that's when I really got to sit down with people and talk, and he said, hey, so He said, "You just getting here?" I said, "Yeah, I was a late bloomer." You know, I
Many
said,
people are getting like that these days. Late bloomers are getting common.
I said, he said, look, he said, you got a great voice, man. He said, I heard you in Columbia. He said, when you were singing Best of Ever and you hit that big note, he said, man, we all came running out of the dressing room just to, see who you were.
Oh my
And
gosh.
he goes, and then to hear you go from that song to singing that ballad out there called Promise. He said, man, I'm telling you, everybody backstage was amazed, and SOS band was one of my favorite bands coming up, and
Nice.
so to get to meet them, and then the Full Force band back in the day, back in the 80s and 90s, meeting all those guys, and was a big deal. I'm blowing up my phone, calling home, and my brothers and everything. Oh my God, you're playing with, oh my God, sending all the pictures and stuff. It was,
Oh yes, I know. I know what you mean. Yes.
yeah. And so then after that, another highlight was Tom Joyner family reunion show in Orlando, and that's
Hmm.
when I got to play with uh, Bev Biv DeVoe, um, and Frankie Beverly and Mays. Um, and yeah, I was on the same bill with them. And so my career, man, from really started, you know, from 215 when I started putting out records till now. I've had a pretty good run. I've
Hmm.
had a really good run. But, had a bunch. I got been a had a bunch of hits, and I'm really blessed. And that and I own my own record company, which is New Five Records, and along with my wife and other partner Michael Hawthorne. And for independent artists, I think I've done pretty good. We've done pretty good.
It's
And
it sounds like. And who are some of the artists that you have with new five records and everything like that?
no, it's mainly me. We haven't signed any artists as of yet because we've been really just focusing on my career, and so that's coming. Down the road. That's going to be, you know, I'm looking at artists because I'm already working with hip hop artists, and got this other guy. His name is he calls himself Just Me, and then I have another artist named Reese Phillip, who's like crazy good on piano, like Billy Joel and all that. That type of guy.
Oh yeah,
Man, he
still
is
kicking.
phenomenal. 23 years old,
Wow.
amazing. And
Okay.
this guy, and then and then I started mentoring this really young girl. She's like 11. Her name is Lily Thayer, and um, Tom Thayer's little niece, of the Kiss. He's from Portland, the guitar
Okay.
player. And so I've been giving her voice lessons, and she just started her new band last week. And
Nice.
she's singing Pat Benatar songs and all that at 10 years old and killing it. And
Oh
so
my gosh. Wow.
yeah.
Whew.
So anyway, so that's down the road. I'm getting ready to put out another album, so I'm working on like about six, seven songs right now,
Okay.
and so that'll be coming out
Hmm.
um, pretty soon when I finish with them. I just got the producer I wanted to do. I want to work with name of Tiger Roberts. He's a Grammy Award winning producer. Did stuff with Gladys Knight and also people Bryson, a bunch of people. And so I'm hooking up with him to do these songs, and like I said, I'm steady doing shows. They steady calling my name. Songs still being played all over the world, and I'm just a blessed guy who never thought that he would even be doing this. I was a sports guy, and never in my wildest dreams I think that I thought that I would be touring the country and going overseas and driving down the street in Mississippi, and my song comes on the radio, and
Hmm.
that kind of stuff. And I'm just feeling blessed. I'm just like, man, I'm the luckiest guy in the world, for
Hmm.
somebody who never took music, don't know how to read music, taught myself how to write by just listening and learning and to have like 8 hits, you know, hit songs, and
Hmm.
I'm just blessed.
And,
Just
and, of,
blessed.
co- and of course, they're amazing as well too, having those hits that really produce as well. And not only that, you also have been in a couple of TV appearances. We'll get to that in a minute with Andy Stokes. You listen to the Mike Wagner Show at the MikeWagnerShow.com, powered by Sonic Web Studios, brought to you by our official sponsor, the Mike Wagner Show, international warring author Mia Molson's Missing. The Sweet Psalmist by Serena Wagner, based on the life of King David through King David's Psalms, 30 exquisite paintings, Amazon.com, keyword Sweet Psalmist Serena Wagner. We'll be back with the multi-talent Andy Stokes after this time out. We're back to legendary Northwest King of Soul, Andy Stokes here on the Mike Wagner Show. We talked about no better, best day ever. I don't give a damn, full circle and more. I mean, you're involved with sports, being with Portland Trailblazers, Seattle Mariners, and all that. You also been in a couple of TV appearances, like in NBC's Grimm and TLC's Librarians. Tell us about those.
Yes, I was. I had a friend of mine named Bruce. What's his name? I can't remember his name. Anyway, he was a cameraman, and he used to come see me play. Kular's first video he shot. He said, "Hey man, I'm working on the set of Grimm. I think you would be good for it." He said, so I signed up with the booking agent, and they booked me as Detective Jones on the Grimm show.
Oh,
So I was
nice.
in like,
Okay.
yeah, so I was in about 5 episodes, and had I think I had like 4 times I got to had speaking parts and everything. And so that was a good run. That was a nice experience. And then and so out of being on Graham, the librarian came into town to shoot, to shoot their episode, and then I got called to be a cast member on that. So got to
Nice. Okay.
we got to
Hey,
be.
any possibility of maybe getting into TV in the future as well, too, along with some continuous singing?
Yeah, that's the goal. That's the goal right now. I'm putting feelers out, and I'm having Alex as my new manager now. I think doors are going to open up now.
Hmm. And
And
certainly does
community.
as well. And if there's other music that we haven't covered, I think we cover a lot of it. If there's something we haven't covered, let's bring up some songs as well too that I don't think it's been covered yet. I'm looking through. It's like have we covered everything? It's like I can't remember.
Oh man, I got album that I did when I first came out. That was produced by this guy named Roger Sauce. It's called "It's About Time." And God, I did those like back in 1995. You can find if you go on YouTube and put in Andy Stokes, it's about time album. Then those songs will come up, and yeah. So I did a lot of music, but that record was mainly local. It didn't go national. It was just a Portland thing. It was like the number 2 best album that was released in Portland at the time, with Behind the Cherry Poppin' Daddies. That was very popular back then.
Hmm.
And so, I have a lot of music out there. And uh, early in my career in the 90s, it was mainly local. Test of Time was local. Um, the record, the album, About Time album was local. So there's a lot of music out there, and at the time, you know, I had a lot of help, man. I didn't do this by myself. I worked with people who could play piano, who can do drums, and I could sing melodies in my head, and I get with my keyboard player, and then we would figure it out, and that's how I learned. And so now I can play. I taught myself chords so I can, at least write songs. Then I can take it to my keyboard player. So I've been. So all you musicians out there, collaboration, collaboration, collaboration. There's enough out there for everybody. And 2, 3, 4 heads are better than one. That's where the magic is to me. So
Right.
that's my message.
I think that's a great idea as well too. In the meantime, where can we find your latest release and how it works at Andy?
Okay, you can find everything about me at andystokesmusic.com. On Instagram, it's at Andy Stokes Music. And on Facebook, on my artist page is www.facebook.com/ get stoked, Andy get stoked. And then Facebook. Yeah.
All right. We'll certainly check those out as well, too. We're the multi-talented, legendary Northwest King of Soul, Andy Stokes, here on the Mike Wagner Show. Andy, just a few more things. What else can we expect from you 2025 and beyond?
Well, you can expect new music coming out, new videos coming out, and hopefully, we're working on it right now, a tour, European tour and United States tour. So we're working on that stuff. But everything is, we're working on that and doing music, man, writing music, performing.
You
And
got it. Mm-hmm.
yeah.
We'll certainly check that out. Who do you consider biggest influence in your career?
Wow. Far as God, listen, man, there's so many. I mean, I love artists who were entertainers like James Brown, Elvis Presley, all the solo artists who was just had all the energy, because that's, when I'm on stage, that's how I perform. So mainly James Brown was mainly my guy.
Okay.
Not so much his dance and stuff, but he gave the people what they want. And so that's I adopted the motto, if they're going to pay to see me, I want them to leave happy. I want them to leave talking about the show. I want to be able to, touch them. And so I explain my music as giving unconditional love. And so, and feel good music. But I think James Brown, Elvis Presley, and then and of course Luther Vandross, and the band, the Isley Brothers, all the old school cats, I grew up with. I would watch them to learn, and it paid off. So those are my
Mm-hmm.
influences,
And
and my
certainly
dad.
indeed. And certainly indeed. Yes, definitely. And what's the best advice you can give to anybody at this point?
If you decide to come into this business, before you do anything, learn the business. Learn the business of music, so when you're talking contracts or whatever, what they're talking about, and they don't pull the wool over your eyes. So learn the business, rehearse your craft, and never give up. I'm the
Mm-hmm.
prime example of never give up. I
Uh,
had my first top 10 Billboard single at 59 years old.
how do you
So never
like
give up.
that? Yes. And of course, you still have the best voice out there. It's like I'm doing it times two for you. So
Thanks, Mike. Appreciate it.
there you go. There you go. And we're here with the amazing multi-talent Andy Stokes, legendary Northwest King of Soul, with no better here on the Mike Wagner Show. Andy, a very big thank you for time. You've been absolutely fantastic. Learned a lot. Looking forward to having soon. Keep us up to date. Keep in touch. Laugh, have you back. And what's your website? How do people contact you? Where can people purchase or check out your music?
I am on Spotify, Apple Music, AndyStokesMusic.com, and go in there and download the music. You would definitely enjoy it. So there you
And
go.
we certainly as well too. Once again, Andy, very big thank you for your time. You've been absolutely fantastic. Learned a lot. Looking forward to it soon. Keep us up to date. Keep in touch. Laugh at you back. We wish all best. And Andy, you definitely have a great future ahead of you.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me on the show. Thank you so much.